Hey everyone, happy Halloween. Okay. So I wanted to kind of shed some light on a topic that is obviously very popular today. It's Halloween, scary things. That's what Halloween's all about, right? Um, but whenever it comes to our growth, our life, our personal life, what we are working towards or not working towards, what is the scariest nightmare in that aspect of yourself? Sometimes people think that, they get caught up in, what's really scary. Like, is buying a house scary? Is, going for a job promotion scary? Like all these things. Like, do you feel like that's what's really scary? Or, you know, for me and a lot of people who have that, little voice in their head telling them, like, it's time, you got to go after your goals, you got to go after your dreams. The scariest nightmare would be crushing that little voice forever, and just basically allowing it to die off. And which it never really does, by the way. It just gets louder and louder, and it turns into millions of other emotions like resentment, regret, um, midlife crisis, like all like things like that. So, scary things, whenever it comes to our growth, would be, living lukewarm, living life just kind of mediocre, settling, not showing your kids what's possible, living through someone else's idea of who you should be. And this is something that so many people do. Um, and it's just because they sometimes, as we grow up, we are basically conditioned to believe that we can only do X, Y, Z, and that's it. And we kind of just adopt those beliefs of what other people have put on us. Okay. So if they have this idea in their head of who we should be, what we should become, how we should act, and we live out, that identity, we are crushing our own identity, which is a really scary thought because this is what happens whenever, again, people get really old. I'm not going to say that. People get older, and they realize that they don't know who they are. They've completely spent their whole life being, this someone else for other people, and they don't even know who they are anymore. And that's scary, and that alone should be enough to propel people to figure out who they are, go after them, their goals, go after their dreams, become that best version of themselves, from the thought of thinking that you could be, 80 years old sitting there wishing that you went after everything that you've ever wanted and you didn't, another scary thing is shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's box. This has happened in many situations in my life where people have tried to forcibly shrink me to fit inside the box that they've created for me, and who they think that I should be. And this is basically like what we just talked about. But the thing is, staying there, realizing that and staying there again and having that slow death of your soul, basically, because it's screaming that, you want more, you can do more, you want to do your own thing. Okay. You want to follow your intuition. And, it's really scary to think that people follow logic in cases where they should be really following their intuition. And, but most people don't even hear their intuition because of all these other things going on. Okay. They have so many limiting beliefs. They have all these things. They're not working through any of it. So again, they're not listening to their intuition. They're listening to just the logical answer of what, maybe someone else is telling them what to do. Okay. And that's a scary thought, and for me, it's a really scary thought. And I think for most moms is, what are you teaching your kids? And are you not showing them what's possible? That's a really scary nightmare. Um, and watching others, go after their dreams and you're just kind of suffering in silence. And it's scary to think that, like, you know, even staying stagnant, maybe it's the same income, maybe it's the same story, maybe it's the same problems all over again, maybe it's the same relationship. Think about that. Put yourself, 10 years from now and think about how scary it would be if you were in the same place as you are right now. Now, of course, if you're going after your dreams and goals, if you're living the life for you, this isn't really going to be a scary thought, right? Because you're doing it. But for those who are not, this should really give you momentum and propel you forward. Just the thought of being in the same place as you are right now. Okay. I know for me, a couple years ago, whenever I would think about this, like, it would keep me up at night because I didn't want to be in the same place. I wanted to grow. I wanted to, just kind of create the life that I knew I could have, because I was listening to that little voice inside of me. Um, but a lot of times, the other thing that's really scary for people is success. And this is kind of like I've found with many of my clients, this is a hidden limiting belief, because who would be afraid of success, right? Who would be afraid of money? Who would be afraid of, goals happening? Who would be afraid of that? However, it is a very common thing. I went through this years ago. I went through this. I was terrified to make a lot of money because I didn't know what I would do with it. I didn't trust myself. So there's a lot of self trust that has to be built up whenever you are going after your goals and your dreams. And it's a scary thought to think that, you're not going to have any of that, right? Hmm. Yes. So, what is a result, of this scary nightmare? What happens if we keep living this scary nightmare of not going after our dreams and goals, of, staying stagnant, of staying broke, of not showing our kids what's possible, of, living through someone else, living in that box that someone else put you in, and maybe that's something like, even like, well, my parents wanted me to go to college for this and they wanted me to do this. So this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm living my life. I've seen a lot of that too. And again, that little voice inside their heads, like, always wanting something else. Um, because again, it's not what you were here to do, right? We are all here. We are all put here to be worthy, or I'm sorry, we all come here worthy, and we're all here to live out our dreams and our goals. So, as a result of ignoring that, of living this scary dream, we end up very resentful. We end up, always wondering what could have happened. You don't want to be 80 years old looking back and saying, you know, what could have happened if I would have actually bet on myself, if I would have actually went for it. And we also end up unfulfilled. We're always unsatisfied and we're always, trying to fill those holes that we have. Uh, and it's just a hole of our intuition, really, because our intuition is never, if we don't listen to it, it's never going to be fulfilled, right? So, you see a lot of people, again, having midlife crisis, buying, these expensive things and, trying to, again, fill that void. And that's kind of a scary thought to think of. You don't want to see yourself, at 40, 50 years old, going through a midlife crisis and, like, literally not knowing who you are. And again, we see that all the time, right? And the whole point is to not be one of those people. And again, preventing it. And this is exactly how. So, you know, um, yeah, you just you end up really resentful and it can really suck. right? And for me, that is the scariest nightmare. When it comes to my goals and dreams and my growth process, and not everyone has it all like laid out in front of them. Many of us don't. Many of us are, kind of walking through this kind of blindfolded and just, again, being led by our intuition. But, growth is always the way that we should be headed. And again, opening up those channels. So, I think that whenever you come to this point, you have to be your own cheerleader. You have to push yourself so that it is until you get to this point of, the fear of staying stagnant is scarier than the fear of exiting your comfort zone. And once you get to that point in your life, you start to be unstoppable, and you're able to use that momentum and, again, just go, 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 because you're more afraid of staying stagnant than you are of, exiting your comfort zone, which can be a very scary thing for a lot of people. It is scary. It is terrifying, to invest in yourself, to be like, because you're betting on yourself, right? It's scary to maybe, take that next step, pursuing what you want without a guarantee. And that's the thing, whenever you put trust in yourself and you put trust, in the universe and God and all the things, magic happens. And it doesn't, I call it that. And I don't call it that lightly, because shit, like mountains move out of your way. Okay. Whenever you put yourself first and you bet on yourself, they really do. So it's pretty amazing. I think that if 2020 has taught anyone anything, it should be that get your shit together and go after what you want. I know for me, like, it was like this, all right, like, we got shit to do. Like, yeah, it's time, it's time. So I just felt called to kind of just point that out, give you guys kind of a new perspective here on what is really scary. Is it really going after those, maybe buying a house, or, going for that promotion, or is it letting your dreams and goals die and just shoving them down and keep covering them up with these, limiting beliefs and reasons why you shouldn't and why you're not worthy and all the things, okay? This is what happens. I see this so much, okay? And that's a big reason why. And, I wanted to become a life coach because I wanted to help people work through that. And I have helped people work through that. That's what we do. We kind of cut off that little voice inside your head that's telling you can't, right at the base of it. Okay. It's gone. So again, if 2020 has taught you anything, it should be that now is the time to bet on yourself. Now is the time to put yourself first, go after what you want, and just be unstoppable. So again, if you want that type of encouragement, if you want that type of, again, that cheerleader mentality of let's go for it, I'm going to drop a link below. Join the Facebook group, because there are a lot of fiery people in there. And that is what we do. Okay. We cheer everyone to the point where, again, it's staying stagnant as to where you are is scarier than exiting your comfort zone. And I can't stress that enough. Okay. Once you get to that point, you become unstoppable. So, all right. I'm going to jump off here. Have a wonderful Halloween, guys. And let me know what you think. I want to know if, is this scary for you? Is it scary for you to watch your dreams and goals just die? If it's not, then we should talk. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.